Welcome to Cafe.io. In the previous video, I talked about Anthropic Economic Index, which highlights that AI is going to have a major impact on the way people work. What does this mean? It really translates that a lot of different jobs are benefiting from the idea of large language model and generative AI, and that's from computers to financials. All of this is discussed in the previous video. This is the video, and the question that popped me into putting this video was, then what should software developers do? And this is a brewing problem. This is not a hoax. This is not a fact that something should be dusted away. This is very real. Why? Because there has been enough studies about this that the idea of software development, specifically the world of code generation, is changing. And very quickly in the past about 2 years, we have seen models being generating small snippets of code to now being able to generate very detailed SQL statements, very detailed code, be even aware of your entire code base, suggest bugs, write unit test cases and all of that. What does this mean? It does mean that there is going to be a impact on the way hiring happens and on the way skills are looked at. More I would say beginner jobs will definitely take a hit in the early days, and it's very difficult to predict where the trend is headed right now. However, while that might be true for jobs and the impact might be seen over a period of time, there is enough room right now, because 2025 has just started, for us to understand where the technology trend is going and figure out what tools to learn and adapt into going forward. So learning would become much more important if it was not already so. And for that, as if you have been following my channel, I keep talking about AI agents. Check out my previous videos. I'm sure you'll get a lot. None of them are flashy edits, but I try to share what I've learned. And this video gets into specifics of a tool called GitHub Copilot and how they have also progressively adopted agents. So GitHub Copilot was your pair coding assistant, like a coding pair, like a peer for you to help with code, and the way it used to look was like a chat interface on the side. What GitHub has done is announced an agent mode, and agent mode is now in preview. There are I'll show you how to set it up. It requires insiders mode and all of that, but that should quickly change. But basically what's happening is, if you see this 2025 video, they have the agent mode running here. So they have the agent mode specified here, which is this toggle, and I'll show you how. And a lot of information can be just pulled by these agents out of the box. And you need a VS Code Insiders preview. In order to do that, just copy this, go to VS Code Insiders, download for the operating system you have, and get started. I'll show how the setup has been made, and then get it enabled. Once I enable it, I'll show you the changes. So I've pre-installed this. There's a little bit of code already sitting here. I will show you the first settings. So just do settings and type GitHub, or rather I would say Copilot agent, and you should have a setting which says chat agent enable experimentation, and just make sure you tick this. Once you are done, all you need to do is, the default mode is this, where you have some model selections options, and you can ask a Copilot like help me understand this code, help me understand this code, and it's gonna take some time, run through it, etc. But it basically says share the code that you need help with and all of that. So this is the default mode that we know of. Now I go click here, which is the Copilot edits. There are two options. Instead of edit, I enter the agent mode, and once I enter the agent mode, right, you see there's working sets. I can literally add a prompt, I can select the files. It's just very, very easy. And I'm in the file numpy, and I'll just ask, help me understand this, find errors, and suggest improvements. I've been constantly hitting a rate limit, probably because of the larger model that I'm using, and only 2 models are available. But you see what it is doing. It's just looking at couple of even dependencies, which is like broker integration and Python libraries. It's just scanning through the entire code base and suggesting. And it says that would you want to implement certain specific improvement, let's say performance tuning of the code. Just a very generic statement again. And now probably it's going to look through, and both notebooks are free of errors, some very generic recommendations. And you see the code is also generated here on the right hand side. Now the power for this is very different than a traditional chat interface. What I have an option to do is I can, click here, I can apply it to the active editor. I can, for instance, the moment I press this, it's going to go somewhere and applying code right in here. As you just saw, all of this is just generated code. I can accept or discard this, right? And this is ultra powerful because it has given me options. It's highlighting me the changes. I can discard it, no harm done. So this is really the pair programmer, or at best, right? It's basically supporting your use cases on the fly. And if you are a developer who has been coding in any language for a couple of years, you would know how much of benefit this is. Like for instance, I can go down and just say add cell blocks that are advanced, and I don't know what advanced is. I haven't even specified what advanced is. So basis what it has read through it, it's looking at advanced order placement with error handling and logging. Now it knows the context because this is a little bit of financial code. It's talking about how to connect into brokers and stockbrokers. And then here it's talking about for NumPy advanced array operations and performance optimizations. And all of this again I can select, I can add, I can click on deciding where to go, adjust all of that. So the interface has been upgraded to literally side by side. You talk on the right, you get the code on the left, and it's just very intuitive. And what they are saying is this is in GA, but this is a very early feedback. They have some interesting projects called SWE agents, which is called Project Padawan, I think Star Wars universe. And what this says is it's agent computer interfaces enabled automated software engineering. This is scary as well as very empowering depending on how you want to see it. Unfortunately, here's my final take and also a conclusion on the video. I don't think there's much to be done about controlling this narrative. This narrative is gonna will increase, and the amount of code generated will be high. So much so that even people who have generic understanding of software development, who were not good with syntax, people like me, can write a lot of code using these, because I know, for instance, some languages. I know how to debug, I know how to perform logic, I know fundamentals of programming, but I'm rusty. So this is great for them. The role of front end, back end might also start to converge. It was already converging into full stack, but it's going to become very challenging. And I've talked about more frameworks like bolt.new, which can kind of generate front end on the fly. Do watch those videos as well. So here's the message part. I think the only thing we can do is understand how these systems work. This is not very traditional AI where you have to learn data science, start with model building, learn so much of math and stats. I think if you just focus on applied part, learn prompt engineering, understand what LLMs are, how agents work, you will have a lot more success in your career. Knowing that enough would be good enough edge to sustain for a couple of years, and then beyond that it's very difficult to predict where the industry is headed. All right, did not wanted to make a scary video, but all the very best. If you have questions, keep dropping in the channel, or feel free to reach out. I'm very soon going to start a community as well for people who are looking to upskill themselves in this area. Again, this is not a course sell, I don't do that, but yeah, there will be a WhatsApp community launched very soon, so keep checking the space. Thank you guys for listening. This is Akash Verma. Bye bye.